Well, hello everybody. We are live. Hello, Viv. How are you?
Hi, Susie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, wherever you are, and to all our wonderful animal creatures out there contributing to our worlds. And I wonder how often people, I know this is a conversation about animals healing each other, but I just wanted to add this. It's like, how often do your animals come up to you and offer something, and desire to contribute something to your body or to your world? We know how aware they are when we're upset or stressed or angry, or if there's something going on with our body. We're becoming more, I think the general population is becoming more and more aware of how phenomenal, especially dogs, that have this capacity to sniff out cancer cells, that can help autistic children, that know the moment a diabetic's blood sugars change. I mean, that's mind-blowing for me, that little piece of information there. So maybe we can talk about that in another topic. But as I was posting this particular live, this question of, do animals heal each other? So yeah, I've got a great story to begin with, unless you'd like to take it away,
No,
Susie.
go for it. Go for it.
Okay, so when we were fostering greyhounds a few years ago, we had one particular dog. You met him, Susie Cooper. He'd been a medical experiment dog, he'd been stuck in a medical laboratory for about 18 months of his 2 years of life. Anyway, he got adopted. He was particularly, um, messed up in a very different way, not from abuse per se, but in a very different way. And it was very obvious to me in the very early days that he obviously had come to facilitate people, And anyway, fast forward a few years, and his new owner, my ex-husband's new partner, developed this toe problem. And lo and behold, Cooper developed a toe problem to the point where he actually ended up having one of his toes amputated.
Wow.
So the other dog, who's also a rescue greyhound, within 4 months also developed a toe problem and also had his toe removed.
Oh my gosh.
So, my ex-husband was sending me photographs backwards and forwards, because after the fact, he asked if I could contribute or help. I'm like, I could have facilitated something prior to this, but hey, it all begins with a question. And he sent me photographs regularly of Cooper with his toe and, all bandaged up. And right next to him, literally right next to him, was Mickey, the other dog. And they were literally lying on top of each other, or Mickey was more importantly lying on top of Cooper. And so he said, literally, Mickey will get up and go to the toilets and literally run back in and get straight back in his bed and sit right down next to Cooper. And this went on for about maybe the 2 weeks that he was all bandaged up. And so then, fast forward 4 months or whatever it was a really short period of time, from a dog having nothing wrong with its feet and its paws. Mickey then has to have a toe removed, and Cooper does the same for him. And it's in that situation, my ex and his partner are relatively aware. They can see this, they can observe the dogs. And to me, that's just a whole new realm of what animals can be for each other. And that was just the story that was really prevalent when we came up with this topic, Susie, that I wanted to share with people to help, raise the awareness of these animals have so many capacities above and beyond anything that our eyes take in,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's actually incredible, the conversation about bodies in general, and like you said, with this conversation can go between animals and people, and animals and animals, and
Mm.
people bodies too, from my point of view, because honestly, it's just all bodies, and bodies are willing to communicate with each other and contribute to another. And a lot of times I think people are more and more aware that animals have the capacity to basically heal or be a contribution in certain situations when it goes to disease. And a lot of people are worried that their animals are going to take their disease. Like if they have cancer, they're worried that their animal will get the cancer and die, and all that kind of stuff. And it's a really I would say it's a bit tricky, but it's also fascinating. Like you said, this whole concept of what actually goes on here,
Mm,
what's happening, what is going on amongst these bodies and what are they doing. But one of the things that Gary Douglas always talks about, the founder of Access Consciousness, which are the tools that we're using, and also this program, Talk to the Animals, is a part of a specialty of Access Consciousness. Um, he has always said that the moment that you start having a point of view about all of this, the moment you go to conclusion, the moment you get into any kind of riff about it, that's when it starts to really show up. And that was always fascinating to me too. So the animal that is healing doesn't actually to have to get ill from whatever it's doing. It
mm,
doesn't have to, if
mm.
we were willing not to have a point of view about it. Now with those two dogs, you could say, oh my gosh, did one dog have a point of view? No, they didn't have a point of view, but I can tell you that the owners had a point of view.
Let's think.
you
Yeah.
know and and that's always been interesting too, because when Gary said that the first time, I was like, well, how does that even work? And I don't have an answer for how does it work. I
It
just
just
know,
does.
yeah, I just know that bodies talk to each other, bodies contribute to each other, bodies communicate, and the manifestation of a disease is not a given. I think that's important to know. It's not a given.
Mm,
There is a lot that has to go into that for that to actually manifest that way.
mm. Yeah, and I love again, Susie, the conversations we have. You always, open new possibilities in my world. And we, in Access, we talk about this thing called the photon wavelength. And this is a thing. This is real. This isn't just, something that we've come up with the tools of Access. But there's like this heartbeat, this thrum, this frequency, if you like, that the earth bees, that the plants be, and the animals be, and it's when we're present, when we're receiving, when we're in that space of joy, and that same photon wavelength, that same frequency, if you like, allows us to be connected to all things in our own unique way, and gift and have this simultaneity of gifting and receiving. And what you said, Susie, it's a really important point for people to hear again, that it doesn't mean that if there is an odd frequency, if you like, the frequency of dis-ease, not disease, but dis-ease, there is no ease in that situation, that the other animal or the person has to literally create it in their own body. There is a way that you can be with that allows that dissipation, if you like, or the change of that energy, if the person or the animal is willing to receive it. And this is what I've observed with particularly with these two dogs, because then it got me really curious, and he was telling me more about the healing process, and it got me to really be in the question even more about what is it? What is that energy? What is that gifting and receiving that animals can be for each other, where there is no point of view? There is no right or wrong. There's no judgment of what is. They're just present with what it is. And are they inviting the other animal? Are they inviting the body? Are they inviting their owners or whoever it is around them to a different possibility, to a different perspective, to a different way of being? And will that, if the person or the animal receives that, will that change whatever that dis-ease is?
Yeah.
Because
And I'm
everything's choice.
no, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add that last bit. Everything's choice.
Yeah, totally. I'm just laughing too, because in the background you have so many birds, and Australia is so much fun with the birds that are going on, and the moment that they're choosing to be very loud, I always find that peculiar too.
Yeah.
It always fits. What's been interesting to me too, we've had a lot of these lives, and sometimes I'm with my dogs, and often I'm not, but um today in particular, this topic about healing is something that I've had many, many conversations with Charlie about. And he actually, when we started, came in, and he's been laying here this whole time. So it's interesting to me too that he's like picking up on our topic today, and he's like, "Yep, I'm here, and I know about this one." you know, and so yeah, so I'm wondering actually if there is a contribution Charlie wanted to throw in there. um so Charlie, what is it that you would like to contribute here? um oh, what is that energy? Oh, that's interesting. I'm not sure how to put words to that. um but it has to do something with significance. Like his demand for us to, in a way, he's saying like, be more real. And what I know, what that is like getting out of our heads, and really
Mm,
being more present, I think, is more the word that we might be using here, that would make more sense. um like the presence with what is going on, instead of interpreting it, and going into the meaning of it. Because a lot of times, when our animals get sick, like we come to a lot of meaning. Yeah, this means.
mm,
And what I'm getting from him is like getting out of that, out of the drama of it, and really just being present with it, and asking some questions, and really looking at what's required here. Rather than coming immediately to conclusion, if this disease shows up, that means that, instead of like, well, what does it actually require, and what is going
mm,
on, and how can we change it? Can we change it? That's a good question too. Can we change it? And if so,
mm,
how?
mm. Yeah, and thank you, Charlie, because you gave me a level of awareness when he was talking with you, Susie, as well. So that, the whole thing about significance, I think one of the problems, and I say that in inverted commas, that we have as humans, walking two-legged beasts walking this planet, humanoids walking this planet, that we have this capacity slash disability to think the thoughts, the feelings, emotions, because the moment we come to a conclusion, there's this barrage of right and wrong and worst case scenario and emotions and what it means. And, we instantly, like popcorn going off, our brain goes into so many different areas. And what Charlie gave me just then is, oh, I'm having my toe removed. Oh, I've got a cut in my side. Oh, I've got a plastic cone on my head. Oh, I've had a tooth removed. There's nothing to it. If they injure themselves, there's nothing to that. It's just lick. It's, there's something there. They don't go into, oh, you poor thing, and how long were you in for, and how many stitches did you have, and do you have to have medication, and what will this mean for the future? And that there's none of that in their world. They're literally this space of, okay, the dog might be down, the dog might be, introverted, it might be withdrawing its energy to heal its body, but none of the other animals go into some trauma and drama story about it, or start posting on social media. there's none of that. They're just, for me, they're the ultimate space of allowance. Allowance is everything, is just an interesting point of view. And Charlie gave me that right then. It was like, just be interesting point of view, which is where
Mhm.
everything and everyone is just an interesting point of view. And it stops that pendulum swing of, the good and bad, the right, all the polarity that we feed the moment we take a point of view. It allows that pendulum to just be in the middle and be still and be present and be an energy that is a contribution to that animal going
Yeah,
through whatever it's going through with no point of view. And easy to
totally.
say, folks, totally easy to say. I get it. I love animals. I've had animals, and this, I think, is a challenging one for people, because we think that caring is this pouring in of emotion and pouring in of helicopter mumming, or that kind of energy, where it isn't. It's actually the more space and the more allowance you can be
Yeah.
and contribute. Like you say, Susie, can we change this? Is there anything your body requires? Is there anything that I can do to make you more comfortable? What do you require right now?
Totally.
Ask them, they'll tell you.
Exactly.
Make
Yeah,
it easy
and
on yourself as well.
right. And and I want to actually acknowledge you too. I had to laugh because I mean, when you just said Charlie gave you all these awarenesses, but he also had part of his toe once removed, and so it was funny that you did use that again. I mean, obviously you were just talking about that, so you said toe removed. Cone, well, okay, most animals in their life once had a cone, but he sure had one. As he, of course, with his toe. But then you had tooth removed, and he had a tooth removed too. So I just want to, acknowledge you for really like getting his little disease history there in a row. That was basically yeah, that was basically his major things was the toe thing, the cones, and yeah, the tooth.
Hashtag still psychic. Hashtag talk to the animals.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give you that because so often we talk to the animals, and basically like all of us have the capacity to play with this energy and everything, and so often we don't get any feedback. We are perceiving something, we don't know if it's always spot on or how true it is, and sometimes we get this beautiful feedback. And so I love when that shows up because then it's just wonderful to basically confirm, like, yep, you just picked that up straight out of his head.
Thank you, Susie, because that also just let me recognize, because one of the first things we teach in the Start the Conversation class, we talk to the animals, is we all perceive energy differently. We all have our own unique way of animal communication, of communicating and receiving that communication. And just, I'm present, there's a lot of space in my world. I've acknowledged, thank you for saying Charlie was there, because that opened the door for that receiving of, I mean, we're thousands and thousands of miles away. I'm in Australia, you're in America. It's not like Charlie's lying right here, but the lightness and the ease of that, communication that came out with his body. Not that I knew I was doing that, but this is how it can be for you if you desire to have that ease with communicating with your animals. There was no thoughts, there was no traffic, there was no noise, there was no distraction or coming to conclusion or trying to compute and work things out. It was the total opposite of that, where there is this space where things just kind of flow through and out of my mouth, but it's so much lighter and more ease-filled and joyful to have that way of being in life with everything and everyone, rather than the constant machinery and the tiresome chatter that goes on. And so, if there's anybody watching this that would like to have more of that sense of peace and ease with communication, find somebody that does access bars, because the bars are a great way to delete all that monkey mind, to just quieten the chatter so you can have more ease with communicating with everything. And again, I'm biased because the tools I've taught to the animals kind of fast track, for me, they fast track that ability to hear, to listen, to receive, to have this invisible, silent conversation a lot of the time with the animal kingdom, which for me is, it's one of the greatest joys in my life to be able to communicate with animals. Yeah.
Yep. Definitely fun.
So do they heal each other? What do you know, ladies and gentlemen? Animals, what would you like to contribute to your owners and your stewards and your carers world in regards to what you're offering them and what you're inviting them to perceive and receive?
Yeah.
Awesome conversation, Susie, as always.
Thank you. Yes, it's been so much fun having these, and we will continue. So not always the same time, as you might have noticed, depending a little bit on our travel schedule. But but we're going to keep going. So it's just too much fun, and really enjoying it. And guys, please share this with other people if you feel inclined. And um, we love to, yeah, we love to just throw out little tidbits of stuff and have some fun.
And you can always join us if you haven't on our Facebook page, Talk to the Animals. Thank
Correct.
you, Susie. Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you, Viv. See you next time.
Bye.